everybody. Welcome back to Crafting and Crime Daily, the show where I recap live trials. Yes, the trial that I told you was going to start yesterday, today, Thursday, has still not started because they're still picking a jury. So I thought I would give you a little flavor of another trial that started today. Now, this trial is up in Iowa. So we're going to leave Nevada. We're going to travel over to Iowa and we're going to hear what is this case all about? Yeah, this is a case of Iowa versus Henry Dinkins, and he is a rather gruff looking fella, as you can see from this picture. I don't think I want to be running into him in an alley. No, I don't think so. Anyway, what have I been up to? Yes, here's my notes. Here's my watercolor. I've been practicing the watercolor since yesterday. I haven't had my paintbrushes out in so long. I'm just trying to get used to the feel again because it's a lot of muscle memory when you paint. So I just was banging out a few ideas, and here's one that I need to tweak. But yeah, you can see the moon there, and there's a little bat up there. So I'm kind of just playing around with some ideas for Halloween. And here's a little floral one that I did real quick. You see the sun coming in on the flowers. Yes. Some that I'm not so enamored with, but pumpkins, more flowers. Yeah. So, oh, and last night on the live, I did a bat. Yes, and a feather. I kind of like this feather though. So why am I doing all this? Because Crafts with Crashley, which is down in the description of this video, I totally support her. She's my sister that I got to choose, one of my sisters that I got to choose. And she has a business where they do release papers for diamond paintings. And release papers are just these um, pieces of paper that will lay over the poured glue, and then you can peel them off when you're ready to do that section. And it keeps the cat hair from gathering. And so it's fun to have like nice pictures and stuff to do that with. Anyway, they have released the Crafting Journey collection of my watercolor paints. They have released 3 of the dozen or so that they have in their possession now. So check those out. I put them here, of course, so you can see them. And the link down to her shop is in the description, and there is even a discount. It's Journey 10 if you want to save 10% on those papers. Yeah, how cool. And you can get some of my artwork. Yeah. Anyway, working on more rock. I need to do some gnomes, right? Gnomes and butterflies and oh, I should do her, right? With the flower. Anyway, maybe I will. Who knows? But I do like this. Out of all the ones I've done, I think the feather. I want to do some of this in a different color. And these flowers, of course. Yeah. Anyway, those are my favorites. But I need to do some Halloween stuff. And then Christmas is right around the corner. So back to the crime. Okay, Iowa versus Henry Dinkins. Oh my word. This case is not to be believed. Um, it should never have happened. It's just poor decision making all around. All around. Yes. So mom, Aisha Langford, has 3 kids. She has a 13-year-old boy that we're going to call CS. She has an 8-year-old boy called DL, and she has a 10-year-old girl who is Briasia. Briasia? I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Briasia. Now, they have different baby daddies. So the defendant, Henry Dinkins, is the biological father of the 8-year-old who Miss Langford met when she was 18 or 19, which means by the time she was 18 or 19, she already had 2 kids and now has a 3rd one. Okay, I'm going to reserve judgment on that. Okay. Anyway, poor decision number 1. Yes. So none of these kids live with the father. Now, like I said, the defendant is the father of DL, the 8-year-old boy, at the time of this event, which happens in July of 2020. But he's not giving any child support, and he doesn't see the kid. So they're driving around one day, and DL's in the car with mom, Miss Langford, and they see the defendant, Mr. Dinkins. I need to remember that. They see him come in the opposite direction, and he pulls him to the quick stop. Well, DL's like, "Hey, daddy, 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 I want to go see my daddy." So they pull in. She pulls into the quick stop. So she has a conversation with Mr. Dinkins, and the result of that conversation is that uh, DL, he's going to come pick up DL from Grandma's house because Miss Langford has to work. This is on like July 6th. On July 9th, he was going to come to Grandma's house, pick up DL, and he was going to spend a few days with him. She worked at the local Checkers, and it was going to be during a time where she was working that he picked up DL. So the 9th comes, and he goes over and he picks up DL, and his sister, 10-year-old Briasia's like, "I want to go too. I want to go too." So he's like, "Oh, good. Come get in the car. Let's go." So she goes. Doesn't call and ask mom if she can go, but she goes. Anyway, so they go to a friend of his house named Vincent Howard. So they go over this Howard guy's house, and they hang out for a little while. The kids are playing video games, and, it gets to be nighttime, and they go over to the apartment building of Andrea Culbertson, who has been in a relationship with the defendant, Mr. Dinkins. I want to call him Rankin. I don't know why. She's been in a relationship with Mr. Dinkins for 6 years, and he's living with her. So this is his residence, this apartment. So he brings the two kids in. So she had met Miss Langford at a barbecue that Mr. Dinkins had back in June, where everybody goes to the barbecue. So she knew Mrs. Langford. So she calls Miss Langford and she says, "Listen, I've got DL here and I've got Briasia here. Do you want to bring over some pajamas and stuff?" And she's like, "Okay." So the kids are playing video games. They're getting baths one at a time. The usual nighttime routine. Mom comes over, brings them pajamas. So now mom knows Briasia's there and DL's there. They're just campaigning to go outside. He just waits till I'm filming to do this. Anyway, so she leaves. The kids finish their nighttime routine. Briasia goes to bed. But just before she goes to bed, she gets a hold of, they didn't have cell phones, but she gets a hold of someone's cell phone. And she texts her mom, "Good night, Mom." A nice little goodnight text, and she goes to sleep. Now DL's still playing his video games, and when he's done, he goes to sleep. But they don't put on their pajamas. They put on these extra large shirts of Dad's. They each get a big old T-shirt, and so Briasia had a sports bra and some panties, and she's wearing this big old T-shirt. And the kids are sleeping, and so Andrea had told them, "You guys can go sleep in the bed. Your father and I will sleep out here in the living room." And she puts a blow up mattress. So she's a heavy sleeper. So she gets up in the middle of the night, like 3 o'clock in the morning. She gets up to use the bathroom, and she sees that Mr. Dinkins is missing, and she looks in the bedroom of the kids, and Briasia's missing. So she goes, uses the restroom, comes back out, and she's sitting in the dark in the living room waiting for him to come home. And he comes home, and he comes in the house, and she's saying, "Where is Briasia?" And he won't talk to her. And he goes into the bedroom, and he turns the light on in the closet. He's rummaging through the closet. She's like, "Where's Briasia?" He's not telling her. So she moves the curtain, looks out the window where the vehicles are, and sees Briasia standing out there on the passenger side of this vehicle in her long T-shirt. So the defendant, Dinkins, takes off with her, and she's never seen again. Never seen again. She goes missing. Your mom comes to get her, doesn't know where she is. She got up in the middle of the night, I don't know where she went. She's missing. Missing. For the next 4 months, she's missing. Nobody can find her. So till the day that these two fishermen out on this pond and they find a human skull, and then they investigate further and they find the rest of the remains of 10-year-old Briasia, who's identified once they get her dental work. It's a sad, sad story. And it was much lengthier than that. I just cut it down to a few minutes. This prosecutor stood up in front of this judge, in front of the judge, because this defendant has opted not to have a jury. He's going to have the judge decide his case. Doesn't happen a lot, but okay. I don't think he thought he could get a fair trial by putting his peers on the stand. And here's why. He was picked up days after Briasia goes missing, because he is a registered, well, at the time, he was not a registered sex offender. He was supposed to be registered. He was registered. He's a registered sex offender. When he was 17, he was convicted of having sex with a child under 13. And so he's registered sex offender. And he had failed. He had moved in with his girlfriend in that apartment and failed to tell the police that he had moved in there. And that's a violation if you're a sex offender. And there was some other stuff he didn't do either. So his butt got put in jail. He's been in jail since then. Not even being held on bond for this murder, but he's in jail for the sex offender violations. In any case, this prosecutor went on for like an hour giving details about this road, and they went this way and this way. I'm sure there's way more to this story than what I just told you, but I couldn't listen anymore. But at the conclusion of her opening statement, which I said was really lengthy, the defense said, we will reserve our right to give an opening statement to the beginning of our case, which that's not unusual. That happens all the time. So, yeah, this guy's being tried. The fisherman found her. She goes for autopsy. She had been shot in the head. Yeah. Very, very sad. Very sad outcome for this poor little girl. I know. So hopefully tomorrow, the other trial will start. I'll try to keep both of them covered for you, give you the highlights of each one, what we learned. Currently, the trial of Mr. I still have to look. Jenkins, Rankins. What the heck is his name? Dinkins. Henry Dinkins. First of all, I just got to say something here. Why in the world would you allow your children to have a sleepover at the home of your ex-boyfriend who's a registered sex offender? Seriously. What were you thinking? Yeah, I have a huge issue with that. Huge. Let me know in the comments whether you have a huge issue with that part of this case, because I do. I don't know what's going on up there in Iowa, but I won't allow my children to hang around with a registered sex offender. Yeah. Maybe mom knew the story. Oh, I was 17, she was 13, we were in love. And no, you're a registered sex offender. Stay away from my children. Yeah. Okay. That is the show for today. It is a very short show. I apologize. Like I said, there are no trials going on, but check out those new release papers at Crafts with Crashley. Use the discount code if you happen to want to make a purchase, maybe one of the Crafting Journey collection, or maybe one of the other papers she has on her site, because they're all pretty darn good. Yeah. All right. Have a great day, everybody. I will see you tomorrow for Friday's version of Crafting and Crime Daily. Bye, everybody.